On October the 31st, 1517, Martin Luther posted 95 big questions which he believed faced the church of his day to a local church door in Wittenberg, Germany. 500 years later, I decided to post 95 new questions, one a week, to the web, questions which I believe the church must face in the 21st century. Jesus really knew how to upset the establishment of his day. On this famous occasion, recorded near the end of Matthew's Gospel, he chooses to tell his well-heeled Jewish audience what they must have regarded as one of the most deeply offensive stories they'd ever heard. It went like this. On the day of the Last Judgment, the nations of the whole world, all humanity, will be gathered. And those who, because of their Jewishness, are expecting preferential and favourable treatment will discover to their horror that this is not how it works. I was hungry, the king will declare, but you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, but you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, but you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, but you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, but you did not look after me. Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or ill or in prison, but choose not to help you? They will reply. If we'd have spotted you, you know that we would have done all we could. We would have been there for you. We swear we never even noticed your need. Good point, you might argue. But then Jesus says, the king will deliver the most crushing and damning response. Truly, I tell you, whenever you did not do it for the least of these, you did not do it for me. Likewise, the king then turns to others gathered from the nations of the world, exactly the people who his powerful Jewish hearers would have despised. But his message to many of them is very different. Take your inheritance in the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, says Jesus, truly I tell you, whenever you did it for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. Here's the point. God hides in the oppressed, the poor, the marginalised, the forgotten, the rejected, in those we find most challenging. God hides among our neighbours and even our enemies. Our challenge, of course, is to look for him in each other's faces, to greet, to love and to serve all, even when we don't have the sensitivity or the insight to recognise God's presence in them at the outset. Because in serving the least, we serve God himself. Where is God, we ask? The answer is always, God is here. God is among us. Though we appear never to see God, yet for those with eyes to see, God is to be seen all around us. Though we appear to be able to do nothing in the service of God, yet for those who look at things with a different lens, there's the constant opportunity to serve God. God is hidden in others all around us. Blessed are those who have the eyes to recognise God in all his disguises. Jesus' first listeners really struggled with the universality of his message. But the tragedy is that 20 centuries later, so little has changed. Jesus' words still present a giant challenge to the neat and comforting formulas we cling to, which are as ever designed to distinguish the clean from the unclean, the acceptable from the unacceptable, and the suitable from the unsuitable. And though over the centuries some Christians have even tried to argue that the phrase, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of these, the least of my brothers and sisters you did for me simply means that the king's judgments will be based on whether a person, any person, was good to Jesus' disciples, i.e. to them when they are in need. In my view, this is just another one of those times when a text without a context is a massive pretext. Jesus has already made it very clear, we explored it last week, that our task is to love our neighbour, which he explained always includes even our enemies. In the case of those first century Jews, his first audience, even those dreaded Samaritans. Jesus is clearly and very uncomfortably, as far as his elite Jewish audience is concerned, announcing not just the possibility that men and women from all the nations of the earth are included in God's giant plan, but they are included in not on the basis of their religious beliefs, their orthodoxy, but simply on the grounds of their good works and sincerity and compassion. His words could not have been more controversial, either then or now. They deliver a body blow to every neat religious formula that seeks to distinguish the saved from the unsaved, and they destroy the empty cocksureness that too often Christians display in rejecting those whom God may have already received. So to end, just one question. Jesus' parable was a huge shock to his first listeners. What does it mean for us today? More about all this next week.